Hello, my name is Laura Winton, and I'm an English teacher. And I'm not very facile with the technology as of yet, or I am kind of facile with it, but I have made my signs too big, so please bear with me. But I want to talk to you today about punctuation as street signs. Okay, so my students told me this is very helpful for them to understand periods, commas, semicolons, etc. in terms of street signs. Okay, and mostly today I want to talk about run-on and comma splice sentences. Okay, so remember our definition of a sentence, right? A complete sentence, okay, is one that has a subject and a verb. There we go. A subject and a verb, and makes sense on its own. Okay, so I often talk about the shortest sentence in the Bible, which is Jesus wept. Okay, that's a complete sentence. Jesus wept tells us everything we need to know. Okay, if I were to say Jesus was, well, Jesus was what? Jesus had. Okay, what did Jesus have? Jesus had 12 disciples. He had a lot of followers, or the Buddha had, or Muhammad had. Okay, same thing. I don't want to discriminate against people. Okay, so in that case, had has to have a description rather, or a direct object, right? The Buddha had many friends. Muhammad had many disciples. Okay. I had many donuts. Okay. So there has to have an object. Okay. So we talked in my class about the subject, the predicate, and if necessary the object. Okay, or description, adjective, adverb, etc. Okay. So, but every sentence has to have a subject and predicate, and in some cases something else. Okay. So, now that we've reminded ourselves about that, okay, let's talk about punctuation as street signs. Okay. So first of all, a run-on sentence. Okay. A run-on sentence is like driving on the freeway. Okay. There are no stop signs. There's no punctuation to slow you down. There are no road signs. You just talk really, really fast, okay? If you don't have periods in a sentence, it's like just running all the time. Running on, okay? So that's, if you were to read an unpunctuated sentence, that is how you would read it. Just really fast, straight through, okay? Nothing to slow you down at all, alright? So, let's start with periods. A period, okay, is like a stop sign. It separates two complete sentences, okay? So, this is a period, okay? I went to the mall, my mother went home, okay? So if it was a run-on sentence, it'd be, I went to the mall, my mother went home, okay? No punctuation, nothing to slow us down, okay? So, you need at least maybe a period between those sentences. Okay? I went to the mall, period. My mother went home. Okay? Because she had a headache. Alright? Now, another way to punctuate a sentence, okay, is with a semicolon. Okay? So remember, a semicolon is like a colon, right? Colon has two dots. A semicolon has a dot over a comma. Okay, that's a semicolon. Okay. A semicolon, okay, is like a yield sign. It brings together two complete and closely related sentences while also keeping them apart. So that's the yield. Okay. So if I said I went to the mall, semicolon, my mother went home because she had a headache. Okay, that is an appropriate way to separate, but also keep the sentences together. It does both. Okay, I can't say I went to the mall, my brother got an A on his test. Okay, those sentences have nothing to do with each other. They shouldn't be in the same sentence. They probably shouldn't even be in the same paragraph, frankly. But they definitely don't belong in the same sentence. So you would not use a semicolon there. Okay. Now sometimes we have complex sentences. Okay, complex sentences are sentences that have a dependent clause in the beginning, followed by an independent clause, or maybe it's an independent clause followed by a dependent clause. Okay, but there are two different clauses in there. Okay, they both have subjects and verbs. Okay, but the dependent clause has something that, so for example, a dependent clause is while my brother went shopping. Okay, well, what happens while my brother went shopping? You don't know. You need something to finish that sentence out. Okay, so you say while my brother went shopping, I drove my mother home because she had a headache. Okay, so the first part is a dependent clause, and the second part is an independent clause. It's the complete sentence that finishes out the thought of the first part. Okay, a dependent clause is normally separated from the independent clause with a comma. Okay, so a comma is like a slow sign. It's not strong enough to enforce a stop. It can only slow down the sentence into various parts. Okay, so a comma is a slow sign. Okay, and then there's the comma splice, which many people use to separate a sentence. Okay, a comma splice would be, again, I went to the mall, comma, my mother went home. Okay, that's incorrect. That doesn't, the comma is not strong enough to separate the sentences or to combine the sentences. Okay, so in that case, a comma splice is like your crazy aunt or uncle who drives 25 miles an hour all the time, down straightaways, through stop signs, etc. Okay, they just go the same speed all the time. They never speed up. They never slow down. They never stop. They just keep on going. You know, and that's often how we talk, right? I tell my students, paying attention to the way you talk is good for grammar, right? So for example, I like the example of me. You know, me and my brother went to the store. Okay, if you take out the my brother, you wouldn't say me went to the store, right? That doesn't sound right. You say I went to the store, so it's my brother and I went to the store. It doesn't work for sentences because we often talk in incomplete sentences, or we talk when we're breathless and we have some exciting news to tell somebody. We talk and run on sentences all the time. We just talk and tell everybody, oh my God, this terrible thing happened to me, or this great thing happened, and I just have to tell you about this. And we also talk in comma splices, right? So I went downtown, and then I saw this person standing in front of the store I wanted to go in. And it was my nemesis. And so I didn't want to go in the store. And so I waited around outside. Okay? So that's kind of like talking in a comma splice. You know, you just kind of drag it out and you kind of think about what you're going to say next, and then you add that part, it's the information, right? So we often talk very differently than we write, okay? And sentences are very hard to tell from how we talk. It's hard to identify complete versus incomplete sentences if we're based on how we talk. So for that, you have to know the rules. You have to know the rules of commas. You have to know the rules of punctuation, okay? And so I hope that in this way, showing you the rules of punctuation with run-on sentences and comma splices in terms of street signs, I hope that will help you a little bit. So thank you for listening. Have a good day.